Hey everybody, Comic Crack. Just back with a very quick video today. Just wanted to talk about two things. I just picked up a few books today I was going to just have a brief talk about, and I wanted to tell you about another channel that I started. So because I've been getting a little more into games, I don't want to flood the Comic Crack channel with just game reviews and gameplay videos and things, but it is still something that I want to do. So I've started another channel that's strictly going to be games. It's called AstralHexEncounter, and right now there's an introduction video up, and I might transfer all of the game videos that I have on this channel over to that one, but just so then I can still have a channel where I can talk about comics and things, and I can have a channel where I can talk about games, and people who want to come for one particular thing don't get flooded with something maybe they don't care about or want to hear about. So by all means, come on over and check it out. And on the games front, I went and picked up just a couple of comics today, like 2 new ones, and I went to this place that I don't go to that often because it's a little far away. But they always have, he's got a really nice, well, it's not nice, it's hard to get to, it's kind of a pain in the ass, but he's got a lot of kind of indie publishers down in these long boxes underneath the kind of main back issue racks that he has. But he has so many comics in there that the aisles now are even narrower, so getting those long boxes out, because they kind of, one comes this way, one comes that way, they always, it's just a pain in the ass, so I end up having to kind of like crouch in there and dig through. That said though, I did find a couple of things that I was interested in. I showed one of these before, and there's a video of it on this channel, maybe? I think I did a video about it. It's this series called 13 Assassin, and it's from TSR, which is a game company, and this is a comic that comes with a game. The last one I had, the game isn't that great, but I mean, this was $1, and it's issue 3 of 4, so now I have 2 of 4 of them. And the interiors look pretty great. The game in this one this time is a card game, so here's the fronts and backs of the cards. There's like 4 pages of this that I guess you could cut out. We'll see, maybe I'll scan them and print them out and make up some little cards. We'll see, I haven't decided yet. But the kind of surprise in it was this. One of the artists, it's signed, his name is George Freeman. So somebody at some point met him, got a signature, and I don't know how this is going to show up. Let's see, maybe I can put it on the back of this. Some sort of transparency where he did a sketch, which is odd to me, but that's what happened, or did a tracing, I don't really understand. Sorry, the kettle, one sec. Sorry, doing a couple things at once here. Yeah, so that's kind of odd. It's on this piece of clear diffusion type paper. It's very strange. It's not bad, but I mean, it looks like it could just be a tracing, really. Anyway, so that was in there, which is kind of neat, I guess. So that wasn't a too bad of a find. He had these free Secret Wars things with these punch-out characters that I got. Mr. Tom should like that. Another good score in there, and I think I'm only missing 1 issue of this, is Richard Corbin's Den from Fantagore Press. These were $3 a pop, which isn't too bad considering I don't really see them. So I got number 4. Number 6. And number 7. Hopefully those are showing up okay. So that leaves just number 5 that I need, and I've got that whole series, so that's pretty exciting. It's just one of those books I don't see around that often, so there you go. And then just for new ones, I picked up for Mr. Tom and I, Secret Wars number 4 of 8. We just read issue 3 this past weekend, I think, or maybe it was the week before, I don't remember. Anyway, so we're almost caught up on it. I'm so about it. It's fun. It's not a bad idea. The problem for us is we were reading Avengers and New Avengers when all the incursions and stuff were happening, and then we fell behind by like, I don't know, a year possibly. So a lot happened in that year leading up to this point that we're unfamiliar with. So it's one of those things, just kind of jumping in and trying to make sense of what's going on. And I mean, there's been lots of talk in the past about like how easy it is these days to jump into a series and figure out what's going on. We can figure out enough what's going on to follow the story. The problem is it feels like we're not getting the whole story, so it feels like we're missing something. Not a lot that we don't know what the hell is going on, but it makes it less enjoyable. And honestly, I don't know, maybe it's just happening to me. It's just one of those things that everybody has their time with these big events and things. I'm just a little tired of having these stories that last 2 fucking years and you're expected to just keep up every time, because that's kind of how I feel reading this. It's like, oh wow, we really should read all the Avengers and New Avengers up to this point. We should catch up on that first before we start reading this. But by the time we catch up on that to get to reading this, and then by the time we've read this, there's another year of shit that's gone on and events and whatever else. So then you're still behind. I always feel like I'm playing catch up, especially in the past, I don't know, half a year or something. I don't have a subscription service anywhere anymore. I don't go every week on Wednesday to pick up new books. So I don't read new books every single week. And that's just because I just can't do it. It's just impossible right now at this point. The way work has been going and with the house and baby and stuff, it's not a criticism on all of those things. I love all of those things. It's just that, you know, some things have to go, and this is one of the things that has to go, and whatever, it's totally fine. But it does now, coming back in, I can really see the kind of sense of frustration, and I just think of somebody coming in as a new reader. Fuck all this redoing number ones and redoing everything. How about some goddamn stories that are like 2 issues long, or something that's not, you know, like Silver Surfer is a fantastic example of that. Yes, there's a thread that's going through the whole series, but you could pick up any issue of Silver Surfer and get a kind of story within 1 or 2 issues. Yes, there have been a couple of issues where there's been a bit of a longer story, but Jesus, if I jumped in on the new Silver Surfer right now, I wouldn't feel the need to have to read from number 1. And again, for sure, there's a little story going on, there's a little romance going on, so you want to see that build up and you want to see that relationship grow. I don't doubt that for a second. But this stuff feels so dense. Secret Wars feels so dense that there's Secret Wars, there's all these tie-ins, there's the shit that happened in New Avengers and Avengers with the incursions and the different worlds, and then forget about the fact of the Ultimate World and the regular world and 616 and blah 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 and all this other shit. It's like, you have to be a pretty hardcore Marvel fan to fully appreciate everything that's going on. And I haven't been a Marvel fan my whole life, so I don't fully appreciate some of the things that maybe a lot of other people are appreciating out of this series. Again, we don't hate it. We're reading it. We're enjoying it enough to keep reading it. Is it complex? Absolutely. It's really fucking complex. Sometimes it frustrates me how wordy and complex it is. No doubt about it, especially when I'm laying there reading it with Mr. Tom and I'm reading these pages that I can barely make sense of. And it's taking us so long to read 1 issue, you know, it gets to be a little much. And as for what happens after Secret Wars, I haven't been following. I know that a bunch of new characters are going to come and there's going to be some new series and things. What are we going to do about that? Honestly, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Part of me will for sure want to try out some of the new things, but another part of me would like to keep going back like we're doing and finishing things like our Avengers run and our new Avengers run, and get into some other older series and, you know, pick the odd new one here and there. But I really hope, and I just really hope that I know this is probably just crazy talk, but whatever. I just really hope that when the new shit starts that they kind of go back to some of those ideas. They kind of take a cue from the Silver Surfer series and things like that, where they can, I hope they want to tell a story that now all these new issues are, all these new series, which I know is going to happen a year down the line, all these new series are going to culminate into another big point that's going to be this huge thing. So you're going to feel like you've had to read all of these previous issues to get the full effect of this next event where everything is going to change again. And it's a little old, and everybody's talked about it through the years and things on YouTube, and I guess I'm just the next one, basically, is what it feels like. I'm the next one who's getting a little bit of fatigue. I do still keep buying them because, again, I'm not at that point where I hate them, you know what I mean? I still do get stuff out of these, like that Weird World that we tried out, that first issue. That was a great first issue. We're both excited about that comic. The Thors, we were so-so on it. I was kind of so-so on it. Hopefully Mr. Tom does a video soon for his channel. We've been talking about it for a while, but he was sick last weekend, and then he has soccer and all these things that have been happening, so we just haven't had tons of time to sit down and do videos together. What else did we like? We enjoyed that MODOK Assassin #1 issue. We'll probably try out #2. I saw it today. I didn't pick it up because I had very limited resources this time. I think I had $20 to spend, and this kind of went $20.50 or wherever it went to. So there's things like that we still do enjoy, and I still want to give a chance to, because at the end of the day I do still like Marvel, and I like some of their adventurous spirit on some of their titles with some of these artists and things, and some of the chances they are willing to take. It's just that sometimes when I am reading this Secret Wars, it's really made itself evident in this. It hasn't made itself as evident in like Original Sin or Infinity and things like that. It wasn't that evident to us anyway as we were reading it. This one really hits me over the head like, wow, I really don't know what's going on sometimes. I really feel a little lost. I really feel like, what is this? Where does this take place? And I'm saying that knowing full well where it does take place and all those things, but I just get that sense from it sometimes. So that's the rant on that. And to end the note, I mean, which Canadian didn't buy this book? We stand on guard, so had to give it a try. Had to give it a try. I think it was Damien that said, I really hope it's not a book where they just portray the Americans as these big warring people who want to take over, and I for one hope they fucking do, because y'all are crazy. So there we go. So there's a good page right there, and Maple Leaf on the back there. So that's that, and I will be reading that right away. That's going to be the first one I read, actually, and I have hopes for it, but we'll see how it goes. So anyway, that wraps that up, and like I said, AstralHexEncounter, I'll leave a link in the description. I love when people do that, leave a link in the description and then point down. So I'll leave one there and you can go check it out. Right now I've uploaded an introduction and a couple of Mushroom Eaters videos. Not 100% sure if that's going to happen. I might kind of take this opportunity with the new channel to just start from scratch. I have a gameplay video for this older game from 1977 called Ogre. I bought the Ogre Pocket Edition game for $2.95 quite a few months ago. I finally sat down and played it a few times. In the mail I've got 5 more Aries magazines coming, which I'm very, very excited for. Once the deal gets worked out, it's going to be a little while yet, but eventually those will come, so you'll see videos for those. And one that I'm really, really, really excited about, I managed to track down a copy of Nate Hayden, he of Cave Evil, Mushroom Eaters, all those games that I just absolutely love. I managed to track down in Greece a copy of his first game called San Quentin Kings, and there was a little expansion. It was his first game that he designed. He knew somebody who was in prison, ended up having these long conversations with the guy, found out about all the kind of politics and everything that happens in there and happens in jail, and what you use for like currency and trade, and what that gets you, and what harm it could do and what benefit it is. So he designed a game around being in prison and surviving in prison. So I'm really excited. That should be here. Oh boy, that should be here within the week. My fingers are crossed that it gets here at the end of the week, but I don't think it's going to be until next week, because I dealt with that a few weeks ago, and when the guy shipped it out, it said 8 to 10 days as I'm tracking it. So possibly Friday, probably early to mid-week next week. But I'm really incredibly excited about that. He actually had another one of Nate's early games, but he was asking a little more money for that I just didn't have. I could only afford this one, and it's this Aztec Sun, Mayan Sun Aztec Destiny. He's got a copy of that, which is also out of print. I have a print and play version that I'm building myself, that I'm making myself. So I think I'm gonna stick with the print and play version for now. And then maybe down the line, if he still wants to sell it and this transaction goes well for us, maybe I'll hit him up again and see if I can get a copy of that. I would love to get copies of each one of his games, but I don't know what the chances of that are. Although with these two are kind of the two hardest ones to find. There's another one called After Pablo, about Pablo Escobar, where you're becoming a drug kingpin. And you're fighting other cartels to become this drug kingpin. Holy shit, this phone is vibrating like crazy. So yes, that's enough jibber jabbering. Thanks very much for watching another short video. Making a long story short. Yeah, alright, that's enough.